So, kind of talking about these systems that can't be proved, or even emergent behavior that comes from very simple behaviors. I've heard that you've begun foraying into a lot of biology, into some neuroscience.
Well, I've always been interested in neuroscience. In fact, when I was starting as an undergraduate, that's what I intended to study. I discovered that I really liked mathematics, did not like laboratory work. And so I kept looking, and at that time, I didn't feel neuroscience, or was it, my ideas were quite vague. But it was something to do. I wanted to figure out how minds worked. So some bit of neuroscience, bit of philosophy, bit of mathematics. But I wanted to do. But anyway, the subject wasn't ripe, I felt, and so I looked around, and eventually, by kind of very contingent historical process, got into physics, and I'm not sorry. It's worked out pretty well. And I've really enjoyed it. But I've always kept contact with that stuff. So, and not just at a Scientific American level, but really, I'd say, with a little bit of preparation, I could probably pass general exam, to be able to launch into a PhD program at a serious university in neuroscience or other parts of biology. I've done a lot. I have done and continue to do a lot of reading there and thinking, but. I'm sorry. What was the original question? I'm kind of gone off of.
Yeah, that's okay. Computational irreducibility.
I've gone off in these directions. So I just wanted to say this: it's not a new thing. It's not a sign of senility, or or if so, it's been a long-lasting process. But what's happened in the intervening years is that the subjects that I thought were not ripe, the possibility of understanding mind in a really profound way that's mathematically based and yet also reality based, has become much more imaginable. And the other thing that's changed is that I'm not a lowly undergraduate anymore, so I can command resources and get help and things. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in going back to those first loves, and I've been doing, kind of serious long-term investment in learning at a nitty-gritty level, especially about recent developments in machine learning, and as well as I keep up at the level of reading the news and views and things like that in Nature with what's going on in neuroscience. And the other thing, now that I'm a grown up and have some dignity or reputation, whatever you want to call it, I can call up leading figures in the field and get them to talk to me and get a sense of what's going on and what I should look into. Yeah.
Do you think that biological systems are computationally irreducible, or do you think that there should be some kind of analytical solution for a theory of mind?
Well, solution is too much, but I do think that there are profound organizing principles waiting to be discovered. I think, and the reason I think that is very concrete. it's in fact there are several reasons, but all related in spirit, which is that the difference between humans and which have clearly a level of mind that's interesting and qualitatively different from our apish ancestors at the genetic level is quite small. And so there has to be some parameter you can dial just a little bit to get from them to us. And also the architecture of the brain contains many, many repetitions of a kind of simple design with 6 layers and mini columns and things like this. So, and in some ways, the most salient difference between, it seems, or a salient difference, and probably at some level, the salient difference between the apes, which have certainly a relatively primitive mind, and humans that have a much richer mind, is that our brains are bigger. They just have more copies of these things. And so the great principle of how you use many copies to do more stuff, I feel might be quite deep and profound, but not complicated. That's once you find it. And it also points in interesting directions. And by the way, that's kind of, I mean, it's not unrelated to what people have discovered in neural nets, which is that it was the same, the basic ideas were already in place in the 1980s. And with a little broader conception of what the basic ideas are, they go back even further than that. What made the difference is just having not enough processing power and enough information gathering power. Not in humans, of course, we gather information by vision and things like that. But computers at present don't do that. But you just give them the information in a form they can understand, and they digest it. And that's been using neural nets, which were inspired by the brain. Of course, they're very different in detail, but at some level, probably have quite a bit in common in principles. So anyway, so I'm kind of rambling, but the idea is that I think there is a great opportunity there to find an organizing principle, and there have been deep discoveries in biology that have a lot of universality. Certainly, in the whole story of molecular biology, the prominence of DNA and RNA as a messenger, and things like this, and the cell cycle now is also very much elucidated, and metabolism is very much elucidated. Metabolism is kind of ugly, but all right, that took a long time to evolve, so maybe that's harder, probably. So there are sort of existence proofs for great organizing principles that aren't that complicated in biology. Now, there are certainly many things that are contingent too. Why do we have 5 fingers and not 4 or 6? Probably contingent, and why we know for sure why the land on Earth is not ruled by dinosaurs was highly contingent, and things might have been quite different, except that an asteroid or meteor crashed into the Earth, and so now we just have birds, not anyway. So I don't think there'll be a theory of everything in biology. For that matter, I don't really think there's a theory of everything in physics or ever will be. But but there can be great generalizations, and I think at least one great generalization is yet to come.